And we are live. I guess so. The mic. Shit. Almost forgot the mic. There we go. Can everybody hear me? I think it's showing green. We have picture. Yeah, I guess. If Ken can hear my rookie mistakes, I believe everybody can hear me. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Tribe of Revelation. It's going to be different today. Normally, I'm talking about the world and everything in it. Today is going to be very, very different. You have listened to me for a while and listened to all my bullcrap about being better and, you know, exploring your own possibilities, looking yourself in the mirror, becoming one with that guy that's tucked away, that warrior tucked away inside of you. And I've come a long way. I have become a much better man than I was just a year ago. I've become a better man than I was 5 years ago, that's for sure. And if you go way back, if you knew me back then, before all this didn't matter, you will see that I've actually overcome. I've actually managed to become a totally different person. You only have to go like 20, 25 years back, and you wouldn't recognize the man I was back then. So today I want to talk about me, basically. I want to lay my life story out there. I want to give you all the sides of me that I've tucked away. Yeah, for all the time you know me. You know, I was once upon a time a different man than I am now. That's much I've given you, but you have no idea who I was. Uh, so that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna start from when I was yay high, and I'm gonna tell you what I've experienced and how I live my life throughout the years. So basically, this is kind of a biography, if you want. And after that, I'll do the normal format where you can come on panel and you can ask me questions or whatever you want, you know. But today it's about me, talking about being better, talking about growth and everything that follows with it, because it is a path full of obstacles when you choose to be better. Uh, and I have lived a life where basically everything could only be better than it was. So yeah, that's the format today. And since it's about me, I have picked a piece of music that is seems like it's written for me because I've been fighting my whole life. That's what I feel like. I feel like I have lived um, a warrior's life, if you want, in my own suburban way. Uh, I've fighting with myself. I've fighting with my surroundings my entire life. So yeah, I'm gonna play a piece of music, and it's a piece of music that describes me pretty well. So we're gonna do that now, and after that, I'll tell you all about it.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. If you don't feel blessed, you won't be blessed. You gotta know your worth before you can be worth anything.
All the days when not a thing went right, all the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I can't fight. When failure tried to take my mind, I wouldn't let failure take my life. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I can't fight. Broken in pain, lonely, battered and bruised, always the same day. Nothing new or unusual, seems like nothing changed. It's always the same rules. No matter how bad it gets, I refuse to lose. No matter how bad it gets, I'll keep on moving. No matter how bad it gets, I can still choose to keep fighting up, to keep trying up, to keep grinding up, keep rising up. I just got to that point where enough was enough. I can't keep complaining, sitting and waiting for luck. I have to stop asking why me and start looking inside. Push through the pain and tell my story on the other side. Had to renew my mind and start fighting. I won't lie, it was frightening, but I survived. That choice got me to where I am today. If you think things always went my way, listen close to what I gotta say. All the days when not a thing went right, all the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I can't fight. When life try to take my mind, I won't let anything take my mind. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I got. They never got to see all the sleepless nights, all the sacrifices, the choice between heat and eating or having lights. All the knockdowns, knockbacks and failed tries. They don't see the wounds and scars cause they're internalized. They think I'm blessed and think that everything went right. They just see the end results and think I'm alright because I always smile. But they ain't seen the grind. I work so hard that overtime is just normal time. When you lose it all and then still lose again, it builds a different kind of fight inside. It builds a different kind of drive, different kind of fight, different kind of fire, different kind of desire, a different kind of light. But I'm blessed because I've got fight. I wasn't handing nothing. The callus on my hand shows you I ain't bluffing. I'm like the time, you can't stop me for nothing. It's a marathon and I just keep on running. All the days when not a thing went right, all the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I can't fight. When life try to take my mind, I won't let anything take my mind. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I can't fight.
That's my blessing. Not that I was handed my dreams, but that I had enough fight in me, that I had enough belief in me to go after my dream, that I had the courage to keep going, to push through the pain, to rise through the darkness, and to tell my story on the other side. My story, my blessed story.
All the days when not a thing went right, all the pain, all the sleepless nights. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'm a warrior, I'm blessed because I can't fight. When life try to take my mind, I won't let anything take my mind. I'm not blessed because it all went right. I'll never give up, I'm blessed because I can't fight.
Yeah, I'm blessed because I got fight. And I believe we all got a little bit of fighter tucked in us. So I want to shout out all the fighters that's shown up today. Skull Asylum, my good friend Mike Steele from Colorado. We have Glenn Claudio here. And we have Jennifer Flores. Good to see you, Jennifer. I know I've been away for a while. Good guy. Sense of Cactus is here. Eric DeLeon, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you're back. And Stacy just joined us. So that, you know what? That sums it up. That's exactly the people I want to be here. That is the core of the person that I am now these days. I don't have many people besides you guys in here. That is the God honest truth. I've learned to accept that. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but let's face it, it is better to have people in real life. But I have come to accept something that I didn't expect was possible just 5-10 years ago, that I could have friends from the internet. That is something that's always been foreign to me. When people introduced me to like Facebook in 2013 or something like that, I said, man, how can you have 1,000 friends? That's stupid. Yeah. And the reason I said that was because friends take time. Friendship takes time, and it takes works, and it takes effort. It's not something you are handed. It's not like you can meet somebody and everybody and you just go, "Oh shit, you're a good guy. You want to be my friend?" You know, it takes time. It's about trust. It's about honesty. It's about loyalty. And these things take time. This shit about being uh, friends overnight, love at first sight, all that, I don't believe in it. These things take time. You need to devote that time to it in order to create something good. And I think we have done that. So I'm honored for everybody here tonight to call you my friend. And because uh, I have gotten this friendship with you, and bear with me because it's going somewhere. I have a how do you call it? I have to set the tone for something I think is missing. Because we have to realize that we are becoming friends, most of us. And we need to treat each other as friends. And by that, I mean there's still a lot out there where people put on a facade and put up their hands and don't want to give pieces of themselves. And I know that because I'm guilty of it as well. I don't want to, I didn't want to show you the old me because I wasn't proud of him. But I think it's important to do so in order to be friends. We have to know each other on a deeper level. And of course, as always, if you can't practice what you preach, don't preach. So that's what inspired me to lay everything on the line today. I want to give you all the bad sides of me, as well as the good ones, and insight in who I am as a person, and what drives me, and why I sometimes do weird stuff that you can't understand. So yeah, I want to dive into that. So welcome to the show. This is about the polar bear today, and this is in honor of our friendship. So it's not me. It is something I'm going to share things with you today. I thought I would never share with anybody. I'm going to share things with you today that people who have known me for 20 years don't know. So yeah, let's go that road. It all started back in the days, 1975, where I was born in a little suburban of Copenhagen. I'm pretty sure that my mother didn't think it was going to be something really special. I wasn't a wanted child. So, but it was all right. It's not going to be one of those stories where I tell you about all the bad stuff that happened to me when I was a kid and how I was mistreated and all that, because it's not one of those stories. Um, I was. It was okay. The first years of my life was decent. I don't remember much of those days. I remember a loving dad that passed away when I was 5 years old. That's the day my memory really starts. What happened before that, I can't remember that well. I remember some bits and pieces, but the day my real father died was I was 5 years old back then, and that's basically where my life started and took its first turn. So let's start there. Uh, as I said, my father died, and it barely killed my mother. Apparently, my real father was a really good guy. Everything I've been told about my real father tells me that I'm pretty much just like that guy. So he was tough, he was hardworking, and he was loving. So that pretty much defines who I am these days. So I think something is passed in genetics. Um, because my mother went downhill from there, she wasn't able to take care of me. So she sent me like 8 months a year. She sent me to my grandma and granddad's house on the countryside, and I lived out there. So basically, I was raised in the woods on a farm. It was a rabbit farm. They farmed rabbits. Uh, yeah, yeah, I call it a rabbit farm, I guess. They produced rabbits, and they made what do you call it? Exhibition rabbits that could be sold to people who wanted to travel around for exhibitions. That was their profession. And yeah, I was raised there, and most of the rebel guy you see today was polished back then by my granddad. My granddad is the feature of the rebel side of me. Um, he was a guy he was a sailor. He has he has sailed around the world twice on all kinds of commercial ships and cruises and everything, both military and commercial wise. He sailed for like, yeah, 40, 50 years of his life. And he always kicked me in the ass and said, "Why do you want to go to school? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that?" And it's stupid. And yeah, he was the first real guy who told me there was something wrong with the world. You know, uh, he didn't do it at first. It came when I was like 8 years old. He started poking at me and telling me stuff. You know, he told me that politics was bullshit and stuff like that. You know, not the big stuff. I'm pretty sure if you asked that guy, he knew the Earth wasn't a spinning ball, and he knew all these other truths that we know today. He knew back then, and we're talking start 80s. You know, so this truth movement we think has emerged. uh, It was back then. People just didn't talk about it in the same way as they do today. Hey there, Faith. Good to see you. So that's that's the start of my life, right there. Uh, Growing up in a rabbit farm in a forest. Um, yeah, I spent most of my days in nature from when I was like 8 years old to I was like 11 years old, where I basically lived down there all the time because I didn't choose to come back home. I didn't go to school at that time. I had like because that was the great thing, you know. I had a granddad that protected me from the school. Back then, you could still say "fuck the school," and he did that. He said he he basically told the teacher when she said, "Yeah, but he has to come and he has to learn," and he also just said, "Let oh he has to, let's go ask him." And then he come, "Brian, do you want to go to school?" And I said, "Not really." Well, there you go. He doesn't want to go. And I actually didn't go to school for when I was like, yeah, 8 years old to until 11. Those 3 years, I was basically living and raising and learning a trade, the rabbit trade, if you want, from my granddad. So I became a lackey at the farm instead. And don't you think it's weird that they want to spend the the best years, the best learning years of a person's life going to school and learn stuff that you don't need? Even if you believe in them, you don't need it. It's not a necessity to work in life what's taught in school, you know. And wouldn't you rather have those people use the best years of their life learning a trait they can use later on? They don't want that. So yeah, that was my life until I'm 11. When I'm 11, my mother decides that I should live full time at home again, and I come back to a little town called Albertslund, which is not a nice town. It's a ghetto, if you want. You know, it's you can sidestep it to some of your projects over there. You know, it was not like a violent place, not those kind of places, but it was a place of ego. It was a place of being streetwise. It was a place of, well, the strong eats the strong. You know, so I grew up pretty intense, if you want. It was a place where your word was your bond, and if you broke your word, you know, then you would pay the consequences for it. And I always broke my word because I didn't give a shit about these people, you know. So I was constantly in trouble, and it just got worse and worse and worse. In the meantime, my mother had remarried a guy. Uh, my new stepdad. He wasn't that stereotype bad stepdad, but he was a jerk. He was an idiot. He was basically just putting food in our fridge and in our freezer, and then he took the rest of the money and he went on his boat and drank with all his sailing buddies. So yeah, that was my stepdad for you right there. I didn't see him much. He didn't beat me. He didn't do any of those things, but he was a bad person. He treated my mom really poorly. So I kind of went to my mother and said, "You have to throw that jerk out. He's pulling you down." And he wouldn't allow her to work to earn her own money and stuff like that. He just wanted everybody to just follow his pipe. And yeah, that was not a good one to follow. So basically, when now I'm like 12, start 13, I tell my mother, if you don't throw that guy out, I will, because in that time I've come into my own. I've already been in in trouble a lot with the police and with my neighborhood, and I'm becoming a confident little prick at this point. Um, so so I basically yanked in myself when I was like, I don't remember if I'm late 12 or early 13. I come to my mother and I said, "You have to throw him out, or I will," you know. And she said she wanted him out, but she couldn't do it. So I decided to, and that's the first real change in my life. He comes home after 2 weeks away, where he's just been drinking with his buddies, uh, and the moment he comes, I just went out there and I told him to leave. I told him to pack his shit and go. And of course, he didn't. He didn't like a little brat like me telling him what to do. So it came to a scuffle, and he knocked me down. Not by a strike. He just pushed me to the ground, and I hurt myself. Another thing, I knocked my head on the doorway. And I went to my room, and I picked up a baseball bat, and I went back. And when I went back, I didn't even say anything. I just swung that son of a bitch as hard as I could across his knees. I struck his knees 3 times, and he was screaming in pain and lying on the floor. Yeah, I called an ambulance. They come and pick him up. And when he was on the stretcher and they were carrying him down the stairs, I told him that he should never show his face here again. So yeah, I basically threw out my stepdad with a baseball bat when I was 13 years old, and that was the start of my violent path, because that kick-started everything. Really, I wasn't violent by nature. I wasn't that guy. It kind of just came natural to me because I didn't give a fuck, So violence had a tendency to find me. I don't want to hurt people. I didn't back then. It was just when you go around and say "go fuck yourself" like I did back then to everybody around me, because I was confused. I was a misunderstood youngster, then you get in trouble. And all of a sudden, this news about me hitting my stepdad with a baseball bat went around in my close circles and on the streets, and all of a sudden people was starting to see me as their enforcer, the protector of the little local area I was in. So when they were in trouble, they came to me because they saw me as this big bad wolf that could fix these issues, and I couldn't, because I didn't give a fuck, and that's the first lesson that I learned, and I learned that the hard way, that all evil needs is for you to have indifference. The moment you stop care, you're letting him in the door. And I did stop care. I had nothing back then. And a side story to that, I never had allowance, stuff like that. I never had any money from my mother. I had to earn everything myself. When I was 11 years old, I started I really started my first own business. I went around for all the seniors in the area and got their grocery lists, and then I went and and bought the things that they needed, and I got a little sum for it. So that was my first way of making money, and I did that myself when I was 11 years old. So yeah, now I'm 13 years old. I've thrown my stepdad out. My mom gets a job. She start earning money, and our life looks a little better than it did before. But now I am in trouble all the time because it was it was a bad spiral. Uh, People saw me as this guy. They saw me as a pit bull they could let loose. Basically, when they had something breathing down their neck, they just came to me and said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna fix that," and 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 I was like, I liked it. Let's be brutally honest. I liked the recognitions. I liked the attention it gave me back then. I've always felt weird. I've always felt outside, and all of a sudden, everybody wants me around. You can imagine what that does to a 13 years old. So I started coming in bad circles. I started coming. I was invited in by what was to become my my drug dealer for the next 15 years. And he was actually living in my own apartment complex, so I had to pass him every day when I came home. You know, so it was very easy for me to get in there, and he just gave me. We smoked joints and all that. That's the way it started. So I started smoking weed when I was like 13 years old, and basically when I was like 14, 15, I smoked every day, all day, every day, and yeah, that's the first chapter of my life. That's my young life. Now the part that I'm not proud of starts. um, I was in a lot of fights, and in order to be better to survive, in order to be better at fighting, because I got knocked down many times. It's not like this superhero story where I just walked around and kicked everybody's ass. It wasn't like that. I got beat up many times, and but I didn't care. You know, I was known for that guy that don't mess with him because he doesn't back down. You know, I wasn't known as the guy that could beat everybody up. It wasn't like that. I was known as the guy you if you stand in front of that guy, you better be ready to fight. So so yeah, I got hurt a lot, and I got in trouble a lot with the police and everything, and and my mother decides when I'm 14, 14 years old, yeah, 15, to send me on. I guess you call it boarding school. She sent me to Jutland on a boarding school, um, which turns out to be actually to be some of the best years of my young life. Um, I was a really bad teenager with really bad intention and a really bad attitude. And there was a guy up there called Jens Nørgaard, a real Viking with a big red beard, like here, and 7 kids, you know, tattoos and all that. That guy, he has been places, and he knew exactly how to deal with a youngster like me. He'd done it before, you could tell, and he got in my head and made me see that what I did, the way I lived my life, were leading nowhere. Fast. And yeah, I was up there for 3 years, and now I'm 17, and I come home, and all of a sudden, people see that guy that they knew back then Hey, Senwin. Hey, Scott. Good to see you guys. Today we're just talking about me. If you missed it, you have to go back. I'm not repeating all this shit. um, so yeah, I came home and everybody was expecting the same guy that left 3 years earlier. And I wasn't. I was a changed man when I came home. I left as a rowdy teenager, and I came home 3 years later like a changed man. I knew already when I was 17 years old that I wanted to do something better with my life than what I was doing. But the environment that I came back to Albertslund, just sucked me back in. They sucked me back into drugs. They sucked me back in with the wrong people, you know. And in meantime, all this, there was the gang violence had exploded in my town while I was away. It's really kicked in. There was a blood out gang war in my city when I came back, and and when I was away on boarding school, I started boxing. So now I've been boxing for 3 years. So now my hands were actually capable of hurting people, and I immediately just got sucked in by people who saw all that potential in a guy like me, a frustrated young man who wasn't really happy with his life, who liked the drugs, and it was not only weed at this point, it was also everything you could imagine. I did mushrooms, I did coke, I did all that shit, and yeah, you can imagine what they saw when they saw a guy that's don't give a fuck, that can fight, who are willing to fight and do drugs. Yeah, that's what they saw. They saw a guy. We just have to point him in the direction, you know, and we got ourselves a weapon. So that's what happened. Even though I didn't want it, I got sucked into that life, and yeah, the next 2-3 years of my life, I'm really not proud of. I'm not gonna tell you all that's happened in there because some of the things could come and bite me in the ass, but I did really, really bad things. If you take out the notion of me hurting women and hurting kids and hurting animals, if you take that away, I basically did everything you can imagine. Let's say it like that. You know. In this time, I get very, very detached from myself. And the more detached I get, the more violent I get. The more violent I get, the more frustrated I get because I don't want this with my life. And yeah, it's a vicious circle, you know, where violence breeds violence, and totally chews up the guy that I have become when I was at boarding school. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't feel like sharing stories from that time. But you can imagine what I was like, and I decide that that's not the person I want to be. But in order to be something that's better, I need to leave. I need to leave this godforsaken place. I need to leave this environment because as long as I'm here, everybody sees me like this. I can't change in this environment, so I choose to leave. And that's what I did. I said, all right, fuck it. I want to go see the world. I've always wanted to see what's out there. I've always been, oh, excuse me. I've always been curious of everything that I didn't understand. I wanted to understand everything when I was a child. If I didn't understand it, I split it open until I figured out how it worked, you know. And I wanted to do that with the world and with people as well. And as long as I was stuck in that place I was, I would never get there. So I cock out this plan where I pack a bag and I steal a bike because that's what you do when you're a bad youngster. I steal a bike basically from just downstairs. I pack a bag and I take this bike and I said, okay, fuck it, I go to Sweden. That's easy. I took a ferry to Sweden. Back then, there wasn't a bridge, and I just drove this bike. You know, I drove it, and at night I just slept at the forest. I had no food. I had no nothing. I had to hustle my way and steal my way just to get ahead. And you know what? That was the best days until that day. You know, I loved it. I loved being out there, even though I was living a hobo life. If you want, I was homeless, basically, but I loved it. I loved the freedom. I loved the smiles. I loved the way people were looking at me, like I wasn't this weird dude for the first time in my life. You know, so yeah, I kind of loved that life. I was away for like 3 months. I took my bike. I drove it all the way up to the border at Finland. It was like, what's that in miles? Like 500 miles on a bicycle and back. So close to 1,000 miles in 3 months. You know, so that was some trip. I loved every bit about it. And when I came home, everybody was, "Oh, where you been? Oh, we missed you." And, "Oh, let's go to a party," and stuff like that. And I got sucked right back in it. So I decided to go again. You know, I didn't want to be, um, didn't want to be sucked back in that place. And and I just experienced the best time of my life. The ultimate feeling of freedom. That's the best way I can describe it. Freedom is a drug that's even more contagious than anything you know. You know, I was out there without a care, without a purpose, without a daily order. Something I had no responsibilities except getting some food and finding a place to stay. You know, and that kind of freedom just sucked me in. That's what I want. Back then, I already knew that's what I want. I want that kind of freedom. Uh, so I basically spent, well, the next 10 years of my life traveling. Um, I've driven around Europe on a bicycle. I've driven across Canada on a bicycle from Toronto to British Columbia. I've been to the United States. I've been there twice. First on a recreation with somebody I knew over there, and the other time it was kind of a bet where I went to New Jersey, and lived there for 8 months. That's actually a story that I told Algo. I don't know if it's still up on his show, but I told this story to Algorithm, so you can go check that out over there. You know, But basically, in these 10 years, I was just traveling around like a leaf in the wind. What do you call them? These tumbleweeds. And it became like an adrenaline rush for me. I started treating this as an extreme sport instead of just traveling and you know uh, yeah, I started treating like an extreme sport. It became the same thing as you would climb a mountain. Some people climb a mountain. Some people see if they can jump a bridge, and they plan for it, and they make it happen because it's an achievement. I did the same thing. When I was home, I took 2 jobs and I earned a lot of money. It might seem on the fly that on the low that when I left, I had no money and I was living out of a bag, but nothing were at this point by coincidence. My bike was like $5,000 or something like that, and my bag was $1,000, and you know I used 3 to 6 months to plan my next trip, and then I was away for like 6 months, and that's how I did it. And I spent all my money in these trips. I didn't want the settled life, even though when I came back sometimes, and there was room for me to not be that guy. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to have a house. I didn't want to. I didn't want the life everybody else wants. A family life with a house and a Volvo and a woof woof. That was not for me. When I sat down on a friend's couch, that's what basically I had one friend. Every time I came home, I slept on his couch, worked 2 jobs, got a lot of money, and then left again. He knew that. He was good with that, and the best guy I ever known. Still know him to this day. He knew what I was. He accepted what I was, and because he knew who I was back then, he knew what I was running from, and he wanted to support that. So even though he didn't like me going away for like 6 or 12 months at a time, he understood. He understood why. And that guy, he made me a bet that I wouldn't survive 3 months in a bad neighborhood in the United States. And I said, of course I will, no problem. And I handpicked an area in Newark where I was living for 8 months. I basically took I had $1,000 with me when I left. I took $900, my passport and my return ticket, and I put it in a safe deposit box in Newark Airport. And I basically walked from there until I got in a bad neighborhood that I picked out at home. So I arrived there for like $100, and the plan was that I should live there for 3 months with these $100. And that story I've just been told by Mike is still up on his channel, so you can go there and watch it. So yeah, now I'm 20 years. I'm 28, 29 when I come home from my last trip. My last trip was my trip around Europe, where I drove 9,600 kilometers. Oh my God, I have to work out the miles. It's like 6,000 miles, I think, in 28 weeks. So at this point, I'm in shape. I can ride a bike like 150 miles every day for a very low amount of money. I basically lived out of pasta and butter. That was my my main nursery that is at the time. So let me give you a little hint of what went on. Uh, when I came home from the last 2 weeks of my trip, I drove home from Barcelona in Spain. That should set a tone for what kind of athlete freak monster I was at that time. That's like 250 kilometers. What's that? That's like 160, 70 miles every day, every single day. Uh, and I drove home from Spain to Denmark in 2 weeks, basically. And I'm jacked. You should see the polar bear back then. It's not this big fat dude you see these days. And I am at this point pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty proud of the life that I have invented, because I'm pretty sure this was not meant for me. This was my own invention. I took the life that was expected for me and I threw it out the window. I chose freedom over this world, this construct, if you want, that's been pulled over our eyes for all these years. That's why the truth thing wasn't important back then. It wasn't important to me. Even though my granddad, oh, I forgot that one. I'm just gonna throw this one in there. My granddad, who taught me some truth when I was like 8 to 10 years old. He has actually left me a note. When he died when I was like, just after I came back to my mother when I was 11 or 12. He died, and he had diabetes, the bad kind. He was a blind old sailor, so it was his time. But he left me a letter at with my mom that was supposed to be opened on my christening. When I got christened with christening, I think that's what you call it, when I was 13, and when I was like, she waited with it, so it was on my 15 my birthday, my 15th birthday. She handed me this letter from my granddad, and in this letter he told me not to trust anybody. He didn't give me the big truth, but he gave me all the small ones about politics. Don't ever get sucked into politics. Don't get sucked into education and truth like that. And as we always say, he said, keep an open mind, evaluate things for yourself. Don't take anything for granted. Everything is up for grabs. That's basically what was in this letter. I didn't think much of it at the time. I basically thought, well, I'm that guy already. I don't give a fuck about anything. So I threw that in the back of my mind. And since I've been living this very, very free life, it wasn't important to me. The truth wasn't important to me back then. Now I'm 29, I think, when I came home from my last trip, and I got the price, the bad price of riding my body too hard. It was awful. I came home like I always do, and I went to my body's couch. But this time I ended up being stuck there for 3 months. It was bad. I didn't know what it was at first, but when I've been lying on his couch for a week or two, everything starts to hurt. My joints all the way from my toes until my neck, every joint in my body just hurt like a motherfucker. It was like, I don't know. I think that's how psoriasis is must feel. It was a terrible pain. I couldn't even get out of bed. I kind of rolled out and sat up and had my body bring me coffee. And remember, and know this: at this point, I was a very self-reliant guy. I could do anything. I could survive any area. Uh, you could throw me. You could throw me in a pit of fire, and I will come out. I've taken survival courses, and I really bettered myself uh, at this point. So just me not being able to get out of bed was a big deal for me. I was feeling miserable that my friend through 20 years had to bring me my dinner and stuff like that. So I all of a sudden I went to this pathetic version of myself, and I didn't like it. But getting back to the pain, I didn't know what it was, and I went to three different doctors for them to try to figure out what's wrong with me. I was pretty sure that my body was fucked. I just didn't know why. And at the end, I come to a doctor, and he tells me he knows exactly what it is. He's seen it before, and it's that it didn't have a name, but basically what he told me was that it's the shaking of the bike. Uh, your body adapts if when you ride your bike every day for that far. The shaking from the bike makes your bone and your cartilages in all your joints uh, scrub together. But because you're in it every day, you don't feel it. So you don't feel it before you stop. You know. So that's what it was. It was the bouncing of the bike over that long period of time. So I basically just misused my body for 3 months, and I didn't pick up on the telltale signs. So yeah, I ended up paying that price, and that's why I said to myself, "All right, you're almost 30 years old now. You can't live your life like this forever, you know." But I knew if I was to go back at that town where I was, it would be the same old story, you know. Because I actually came back, and I saw the people there, and you know what? I've been away for 10 years. I have grown so much. I've seen so much, and I have experienced uh, more than you can imagine. And I came back to a place where everybody was exactly the same guy as I left. When I left until that date, they hadn't changed a bit. And I told myself, okay, I don't want this either. you know. So what is a man to do? So yeah, I start planning for my next trip, even though I didn't want to, but it was better than the alternative. So I start planning for my ultimate trip ever. I was planning a trip to Australia. My plan was to take my bike and ride it until you could ride on dry land until Japan, and when I reached Japan, I wanted to sail to Australia and sail right around Australia. It was a trip that was set for 18 months, my ultimate trip. Um, oh, sorry, I need something to drink. I had it all figured out. I was gonna bring my camera and everything, and I wanted to do a documentary. And I had this idea that I would be famous for it, and all that shit. Like we doing on YouTube these days, old school YouTube. And yeah, I planned it. I used 3 months, and I planned it. But in the meantime, I meet somebody, something that hadn't been room for in my life so far. I meet a girl that I really like, and we're kicking it off. And for once in my life, the nonsense didn't seem that bad. Didn't seem that bad to settle down. It didn't seem that bad to stay home. I found something that I could exchange my freedom for. And yeah, the rest is history. We get 2 kids. And the trip to Australia goes down the drain. And yeah, now I have to adapt to a new life. Because you can imagine, I went from being a rowdy youngster to become this ultimate free guy, with no reins attached at all. I did whatever I wanted at any given time. I had no mortgage. I have nothing that keeps me anywhere. And all of a sudden, you get tied down with kids. That was a big one, and I didn't grasp the magnitude of it before you're in it. Because for you to have kids, all the responsibility and stuff that follows with it. And I went from the guy who didn't have a care in the world to the guy who feared everything. I never had fear up until this point. And all of a sudden I had kids and I started fearing everything. It is fair to say that my kids changed my life completely, in good ways and bad ways. But it changed me. It changed me overall as a person. The person I've learned to live with, the person I thought I was gone in an instant. And I became this caring dude. This guy, today is born that day when I had kids. I wouldn't be this guy I am, this guy if it wasn't for kids. If I didn't have kids, I would still be out there exploring the world, having not a care in the world, and yeah. So basically, I rearranged my life. I hunkered down for the first time in my life, and I paid the price. I was like fish on land. I got depressed. I got really depressed. To a point where people around me couldn't recognize me. Normally I'm an outgoing and outspoken person, and all of a sudden I declined in my own head. At this point, my favorite movie is Good Will Hunting, because I could relate to that guy. I think I saw it 100 times in this period of time. Yeah, really bad times, and I regret that because it should have been the best times of my life with my new love for my kids. And that's another thing. Up until this point, I basically never loved anybody in my life. I thought I did, but it was a misconception. This is the first time in my life I really loved anybody. So other than myself, at this point, I've learned to like myself. So, but yeah, you can get that picture. And I get depressed. I go into myself. I'm not the dad that I want to be. Um, I'm not the dad that I imagine myself to be. I've imagined myself to be this educating guy that, like my granddad did. I want to show my kids the world, And I thought a lot in this time about my granddad and what he told me and what he made out of me back in the day. And all of a sudden, I remember those words in the letter that he gave me for that long time ago. And I went back to my mom and I said, "Do you still have that letter?" You know, and luckily she did, and I took it home and I read it very carefully. And now I saw things that I didn't see when I was 14 years old. I saw a man who knew more than he wanted me to know in a letter. He wanted me to see something. That was the purpose of that letter. Sorry. And in the same time, 9/11 has passed. We are early zeros. We're like 3, 4, 5, I think. Yeah, I was 29, so it was 2004. And with those words of my granddad and the 9/11 thing in the back in my mind, that's where I started to explore the realm we're living in. Because now I'm hunkered down, I'm depressed, I'm at a point where I feel I have nothing to lose. I can't leave because now I'm tied down with kids. So what is a person to do? So I start exploring the internet, and yeah, and that's where my truth thing started in like 2004. So I quickly see this. I've been working construction my whole life, so when I see that building crumble, and I see people say it's a controlled demolition, I say, yeah, it is. Building don't fall like that, So if you have ever seen a controlled demolition, you just know. You can see. I've seen building falls that weren't demolished. That's just torn down with a big wrecking ball. And they definitely don't fall like that. They're all over the place. So I quickly recognized that there was something terribly wrong, and so that was kind of the first step in my truth movement. And from there, I just went back. I said, okay, so there's something terribly wrong here. I probably can't get the full picture. I have to go back in order to get the full picture. So I went back to the first 2 world wars, and then I looked at the JFK assassination was the next thing, and from there I went to the moon landing. And when I was still skeptical in all this time, looking in our history, looking into JFK and all that, Martin Luther King and all these guys. I looked at all the features, Malcolm X, especially those big name guys over there. But it was first when I came to the moon landing that I saw it for real. That was the eye awakener for me. The moment I laid my eyes for the first time, I've never seen the moon landing before. the first time I saw it, I said, "Oh my God, people believe this." You know, it was this shock. We have all felt it. We all seen it. You know, I'm pretty sure you all have here. You know, when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God, this is written history, and it's fake." Sorry, I got something in my throat. Just a second. Oh. Hey, everybody. Hey, Johnny Cool. Good to see all of you. Oh my God, there's a lot of people hearing this old dude coming clean. So yeah, now I'm officially tumbling down the rabbit hole. Not at the rate that I'm doing now, but back in the day, you know, it was kind of a relief for me. You know, I have to address this. I felt relieved when I found out that mm, that our history and our notion of the realm we're living in was fake. I felt relieved, you know, because I've always felt there was something wrong with it. You know, I always felt that it didn't feel right to me. I always felt I was outside a movie set and looking in, you know, never understood people. I never understood why we did what we did, the terrible things we were doing, you know, but I didn't pay much attention to it. But I always felt, when I look back, I felt it like when I was 8 years old. I felt there was something wrong with the world. and that's what did it for me. You know, I felt relief, and I said, "Okay, tell me more." Now I'm curious. What else have they lied about? What else is bullshit? You know. So now everything was on the table. I started looking into diseases at that time too. You know, back then it was called all kinds of things. You know, that was basically a new one every year in that time. You know, you had the flu and the swine pest and all that shit. You know, the SARS and the MARS and the, oh my God. You know, so I went down that rabbit hole, and when that was done, then we went to the chemtrails and yeah, and weather manipulation and all that. And yeah, it went on for years, 10 years of me trying to raise my kids and be a good little conspiracy theorist and all that. And but it first really hits me in 2015. That's where I accidentally had a chat with a guy who sent me a video that you all know called The Clues with Mark Sargent. You know, and he said, he told me when he sent me this video, he told me, if you can watch more than 15 minutes of this, it will change your life. That's what he told me. If you're able to watch more than 15 minutes of this, it will change your life forever. And so I didn't expect much. I put it on, and all of a sudden I saw what it was about. I said, I stopped it after 5 minutes and said, dude, I called him, dude, are you for real? You know, and he said, yeah, I kind of don't know yet, but there's a lot of things in there that makes a lot of sense, and I think you should watch it. You know, and I watched it, and I ended up watching the whole thing, and it was like 2 hours long, and I was I was mesmerized to say it at least, you know. I dismissed it right away, like most people do. I dismissed it, but it was still there in my mind when I was lying in bed at night and trying to sleep. You know, all these things that Mark Sargent said back there in that video, we're talking 2 or 3 days later, was still in my mind. And I said, fuck it. You know what? If they can do a moon landing, they can do this shit. It wouldn't be that hard. Let's check it out, you know? And I started to grasp. I started to go through everything that was back then. And I found other guys. It was Eric Dubé, it was Jaron, and Bob Nodell, and all these guys. And I understood the problem. I could see what the problem was. I just didn't find them credible. You know, as human beings, I found the information they gave me credible and plausible, but I didn't go full out there because I didn't trust the source of information. I had to find somebody that I could relate to, that I trust, and I did. This is the guy who really got my eyes up to the flat Earth was our good friend Rob Skiba. God rest his soul. He passed away, but that was the guy that had the credibility for me. You know, that was a guy I could see the passion in what he was doing, his lectures and stuff. He was really passionate about it. He had a message and he wanted to tell people. He wanted to wake people up from their slumber. And that was the guy that said, okay, there's something to it. Now I have to do it for myself. So I did what any good initiate of the flat Earth would do. I went out and bought myself a P900. See if I still got it. Oh, it's up here. Oh, yeah, still got it. I went out and I bought myself one of these bad boys because I was told that this is the shit to capture these. That's the shit you can use to prove it, because you have the theory, you have the math, and you just have to go prove it. Either it's right or either it's wrong, right? So I bought one, and I found a spot where I could look across a bay, and that is my first FE encounter. It's on my channel. You can go watch it. I'll put the link in the description when I'm done here. That's my first flat Earth encounter, and I just saw it right away. There was no doubt about it. There was no way that was a refraction, a looming, glooming motherfucker that bends light around the curve and stuff like that. All the nonsense. So yeah, and I went back to the only guy who saw things on the same page as me, and I said, you know what? Look at this video that I made. It's fucking right, you know? And back then I decided to make my first YouTube channel. It was called FE Copenhagen. I have some of the footage that I made back then on this channel as well, where I explored the realm and got a lot of backlash for it. Oh my God. That's another funny thing. Back then, you know, I had like well, about the same as I have now, 100 subscribers or something like that. But my chat was blinking of, insults and how stupid I was back then, and it was insane. These days I can sit here. It's only you guys. There's there's not this trolling that was back then. Back then it was insane. I could have like 20, 30 comments on my videos, and it was basically just 5 positive ones and 25 bad ones. Yes, now you're getting it, Scott. Copenhagen is Denmark. It's not Finland. It's not Holland. It's Denmark. Yeah, it's that little island in the Östersjö, in the North Sea. Yeah, and so this is where we ended up. The Earth is fucking flat, or whatever shape it is. We don't know, but I know that is not what we're been told. That's for sure. No, Johnny Cool. It got taken down. I had a lot of haters, and all of a sudden, it was wearing on me. So, yeah, it took a bad turn, and I laid it to peace. I said, you know what? This is giving me aggravation. I don't want to be part of it. At this point, I've recognized that that's what it is. Okay. I had to say my piece. I have to go out there and try to wake people up. It didn't work. The only people who came there were people that already knew what I was talking about. And the flat earth just went back in my mind. It wasn't as important. Now we're talking 2018. I've started to find I'm talking to Stacy and Sven P and these guys on Discord at this point, and we could have hour-long conversation, all nighters sometimes, where we just sat and talk about everything and our feelings and how we saw the world. And for the first time, I got to express this evil that I saw out there. It's something that I've been bottled up. So that's why, Stacy, I sounded like a grumpy old man back then, because it was the first time I had the chance to really talk about the nasty stuff that I felt inside. I've always felt that there was something wrong with the human race, the humankind. And it turns out that I was right. So yeah, here we are. The rest of the story is history. I closed down my channel, but then things pops up, or that's urgent for us to talk about, and I became Rebel TV, and the sign is still in the background, and the story. Many of you know the story from there. I became Rebel TV, and I was sitting here and cursing at the government and and all that, and of course that got taken down as well, because you can't have a guy sitting here saying the things that I did, even though I only had like a couple of hundred subscribers. And of course I didn't, at this point, I don't take no for an answer. So here we are, the Tribe of Revelation. That was kind of my life story. Yeah, I've been wanting to tell this for a while. I wanted to give this piece of me. I wanted to lay it out there and be a front figure and tell everybody that my life was not perfect. Oh, fuck it. My throat is killing me. Maybe I'm getting that big crown one. The crown disease. So yeah, and the rest of the story is history. In meantime, I've started martial arts. I did that. That's actually funny. I did that when I discovered that the Earth is flat. Can you imagine that? It was actually 2015. The moment I decided, okay, it's flat. Then I decided to be a better man, and I just decided to better myself. You know, I wasn't very good at that, but I found some new things that I thought would be the way, and yeah, those who know me know the rest of the story. There's nothing more to say. I'm gonna drop the link, and oh no, I wanted to say this. I wanted to be a front figure, you know. I want to be the one that goes out there and shows that none of our lives is perfect. If you're here tonight in chat, I know your life is not perfect. It hasn't been perfect, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. I truly believe that it's adversity that has brought us to this point where we are today, and we are made it through because we're fighters. And that's why I played that number in the start. You know, I believe there are three kinds of people in this world: those who will never know, those who know and give up, and those who know and keep fighting for what's right. And that's so I believe we are here through adversity because we have been fighting our whole life against something we can't understand and something we can't see. So this is my message today. There's no need to be perfect. You know, if everybody out there that's striving 24/7 for a perfect life don't have it, why should we? You know, don't strive for the perfect life. You know, strive to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Take that long look in the mirror and decide who you are and who you want to be and what you want to do, and just go at it. You might not get there, but it doesn't matter. It gives you a purpose in life, and purpose is key. That's what changed my life, at least, and that's the story, and that's the moral of the story. Never quit fighting. Always be better than yesterday, and you end up being a grumpy old guy like me. Now I'm gonna drop that link. You can join me. You can ask me questions in chat. I haven't seen much in chat. I've seen some of it, but if you have direct questions to me or my past, today is the way to do it. As they say when you get married, you know, today you get to say your piece or forever hold your tongue. So yeah, I'm gonna go and fix my throat, and I'm gonna play this piece of music again because I think it's very, very suiting to what I've just said, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So yeah, that's kind of the message, isn't it? Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop fighting. Don't settle for his story when you can build your own story. That's it. There's nothing more profound in life to recognize that you've been lied to in a grandeur level, and start working with yourself. I'm I'm not there yet, but I'm fairly proud of who I am today, as a person, as a father, and I would never be this person that I am today without the adversity that I've been through. If I've chosen the mainstream way a long time ago, and I had many chances to do so, I wouldn't be in this spot that I am today. And here is one that's been on my path from the start, who knows me through my best times and my worst times. Hello, Mike.
Brian, how are you, buddy?
How are you?
I'm doing really well.
I
I
hope
am.
so.
Yeah, and I clicked the link for a couple reasons. One, I don't really have any questions, like specific questions
No, don't have
that
to.
would flesh out, but I wanted to thank you very much for sharing yourself because I've only known you since Rebel TV.
Yeah.
And that was some tumultuous, interesting things you went through, but nothing like you'd already been through.
Oh, no. That was
Yeah.
just like the icing of the cake.
Emotional stuff, not the
Yeah.
physical day to day.
Yeah,
think,
and
go
I
ahead.
think that's why it was so intense when our talks back in the days, because that was actually the first time in my life that there was room for the emotional side of me. So yeah, it came out in all the bad ways too.
Well, yeah. Which I think that's why we're here. Sometimes,
Yeah.
I think that's how we know each other, and that's why people connect. Certain people connect with certain people, and whatever. But I just think it's fascinating that people, you are a testament to it, but people live lives and they do their things, and in the time and in the moment, there's zero consciousness. They're just doing it
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
And then there's people like you and other people in this chat and people we know online who there's always something in the back of their mind, like a little splinter or a spark of something that's like, are you sure this is what you want to be doing?
Yeah, I've always felt like I wouldn't want that. The entire life that was laid out for me, I felt in my entire life that I didn't want that. I don't know what I want, but I don't want that, you know? So it's always been there.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I think that's when creator or Holy Spirit or whatever it is like saying, you're paying attention over here while you're doing that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's all.
And basically he's been trying a lot, he sends a lot of messengers, and basically he in the end he had to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to grant you 2 kids, even though you shouldn't have them right now. I'm going to give you these 2 kids because this is the only way I can make you pay attention.
Yeah, because if
So
not, you're just going to be riding your bike forever.
yeah. Every time I try to hit him in the face with life, he just drives away.
He's got his backpack and he's gone before I
Yeah,
can.
he just turns around and says, "Fuck this," and then he drives.
That's cool.
So yeah,
And I know I've seen you with your children and seen videos of you. I know you love them more than anything in the world.
I do.
Yeah, and it shows. And they're both great kids. And everything led up to that, and you know, it's easy to say let go of regret, and it's hard to do. But when you look at the product now and you look at them, you're like, everything I did was fine because they're beautiful and they're amazing. So
Yeah, you always want to do better. I wished I was better, but don't hang on to the regret. Just see life as a learning experience, and just be better than the day before. That's the mantra I go by. Uh, then you don't have to look back. Only regret the things you didn't do, not the things you already done.
absolutely. I think they say that about old people when they get towards the end. They're like, "What are your regrets?" It's just the stuff I didn't do.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
that's
you,
my biggest fear in life. You know. that I will lie in a bed someday, and I just your life has passed you by, At least I've lived mine, and I'm at a point now, where I've realized, and I have accepted that I have lived my life, and now I have to be there for my kids. That is my sole purpose in life. You know, I wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for my kids. I've said this many times. The world could burn for all I care if I didn't have kids. I
Right.
don't give a shit. You know,
Yeah.
it's not important to me, but it's important to me that my kids have a place they can grow up in, where they have options and they have freedom. So that's what it's about. That's why I'm sitting here. That's why I'm talking. It's the only reason.
Which is, I'd say great reason.
Yeah.
Probably the best reason.
Yeah, well, it's the only one I have anyway.
People do it to make money. Some people do it to get famous. Some people, there's lots of reasons why people do that. But when you're doing it because of love, then shoot, that to me, that's the top reason. So
You want to hear why I do it?
sure.
The God honest truth. I want to be able to, that day in the future, when my kids come to me and said, "Dad, did you know all this?" And I say, "Yeah." And they say, "Why didn't you do anything about it?" That's why I do it, so I can say with a good tone in my voice, I did everything I could.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's why I do it.
Right on.
Yeah. So it's all good, Mike. Actually met you. I think it was meant to be. I saw your channel in the most distressed times of my life. I needed what you were providing at that day. So I think everything happens for a reason. I really do, because what you provided on your platform was exactly what made me see that I wasn't alone in this world. I've always felt alone, and all of a sudden you meet like-minded people like yourself that was having a good time. That was the hard part when I first joined your show. How can all these people have a good time in these dark times with all this nonsense we're talking about? Why aren't you sad as fuck? Like
All
me.
right, chat's all laughing and yucking it up over the end of the world.
Yeah, how can you have a good time? But I needed that. That's what turned me around. Okay, I need to stop being all serious and all self-righteous and all that. And I just, I let go. You were in that process where I chose to let go. It was exactly that time where I chose to let go of everything, all the fears and all the nonsense, and I just started flowing. And it's good times now.
Right on.
Yeah. So thank you, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome. Shoot, I'm pretty sure I've got more out of our friendship than you have, but you're welcome.
That's the way it works, right?
Yes, sir.
It would be. He would be an evil Knievel if he put us together just for my sake, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
The hard part about it
Yeah.
is we're not 25, because if we were 25, we could rebound quick.
Oh yeah.
Takes longer to heal when you get older.
So what would you do if you went back to being 18 years old again with the knowledge you have now? What would you do?
Oh shit, I would buy Apple computer stock, I would buy gold, and I would wait.
Would you?
And I would have married Jennifer, the girlfriend I had,
Yeah.
and I would just wait. And then when that Apple stock got huge, I'd cash it out. I'd buy property in the mountains. Jenny and I would have 6 kids. We'd raise them all to be self-sufficient, and we would hopefully start a little community of people that knew they could see through the government and they could do all the stuff. But in
Yeah,
this realm, you have to have
that was
resources.
that's my next question. Could you lay away the fight?
Yeah.
Could you bite your tongue?
Yeah, if I had a good enough reason to.
All right. I'm
'Cause
gonna
I've-
add Faith. She just popped in. Hey there, Faith.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? How you doing?
Sorry, I was just checking my settings.
Your what?
My
Your settings?
settings? Is my sound
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, your sounds good.
So, yeah.
Before you get on with Faith, though, and this is nothing
Yep.
against Faith, I'm gonna
Oh,
go
yeah,
back
right.
and listen. No, seriously, I'm gonna go back and listen. I got what I shared what I wanted to share, and I appreciate you sharing what you shared. So, Brian, keep it up, my friend.
Yes.
I'll be in chat.
Okay. See you, Mike.
Bye, Faith.
Bye, Mike.
So, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm good. How are you? I loved
I'm
hearing your
good.
story. It was,
It
you
actually
know,
feels good telling it. So, it was
yeah,
yeah.
that was really cool. Like I just sat there and I was going through the chat and stuff, but it was really cool hearing what you had to say about what you went through and all that. Because I mean, I think we all have a story, but
We do.
I think for me, at least for me, it's nice whenever, I see you in other people's chats and I'm like, what's up?
Mm.
And then I can get on your channel and actually hear what you have went through or gone through or dealt with or whatever, because that to me is more personal. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's something I wanted to do for a long time. I think this thought of doing this first came in January. So, I've been thinking like,
Okay.
most of a year of doing this, but it the I didn't come around to it because I had good times with my family, and yeah, but it's something I always wanted to do. After I realized that you can have friends on the internet, and this is friendship for me. A friendship for me is sharing your darkest moments and your biggest celebrations at the same time. It's about loyalty, it's about devotion. That's friendship right there. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And to me, it's like, I don't even care how far away you are from me. Like, I have friends in all kinds of different states.
yeah,
And, I reach out to them as much as I can and talk to them as much as I can because it's like, you know what? It doesn't, I have a lot of family that's very close, but not like they're in another state because we moved, but they're not close enough to like we would have to take a 6.5 hour drive. And they're
mm,
close, like we're close. But I mean, I have friends online that I feel like are closer to me
yeah,
than those family members. And it's like I know that sounds weird and maybe strange, but I mean, there's a lot of people that I've met online that within the last 3 years that I mean, I literally would give anything for them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's an amazing feeling. And I just think that's a really cool thing. Like, I know, you know, um, Princess of Power of the Air and all that, but God can use it for anything. He can use it for good. And for me, it's been, yeah, there's been, a lot of people that talk crap to me and treat me like shit and all that, but there's a lot of awesome things that have happened from just being on YouTube. And yeah, I know YouTube sucks and hates me. But
of course
yeah,
it does.
but you know,
It has to. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in existence. It has to hate people like us.
right. Yeah, exactly. But I
Mm,
mean, your story was really uplifting and I enjoyed listening. I enjoyed the chat as well, but
yeah.
listening
we
to your.
always have good chat. We have.
I know
It's all
everyone
the
does
best
cool.
guys here today. And good night, Josh. By the way, sleep tight. It is the best people who are here today. All the people that have known me, that follow me, and that's what shows me friendship. We have people here today we have been in each other's chats for like 3-4 years now. And
Yeah.
we're still here. We can disagree and we can have a little argument now and then,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
that's part of friendship
Absolutely.
too, right? Where if we agreed on everything, it wouldn't be productive. So
It wouldn't be fun either, because then we'd just be like hive mind and shit, and that's not us.
that's exactly what we are against.
I've been around so many of y'all's that I've had disagreements with, and we're just like, all right, but we, at least for us, we're at least civil about it. We're like, okay, you're a bitch. All right, you're an asshole. All right,
Mm,
that's it. And we let
yeah,
it go. And then the next time we find each other in the chat again, we're like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up?
yeah.
We don't hold a grudge or want to get violent. You know what I mean?
No, we understand that life is too fucking short.
It's way too damn short.
Yeah.
It is so short. And
And if you're gonna sit in your hands, life will pass you by. So yeah. And if you want something, you gotta go take it. That's also a big point.
how many kids do you have?
Two,
You have two kids.
two kids. Yeah, I have a boy and a girl. I have a girl that's 11, and my boy's 14.
Oh wow. I have two boys and a girl. My daughter is 16. She's my oldest. And then my son is 13. And then my youngest son is 7.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm my
And
pride and joy.
I know don't they just bring you so much joy? They're so funny. So
Yeah,
I'm like, sometimes I think, if I could get this recorded, it would just like people would just laugh their asses off because they are so funny to me sometimes.
yeah, yeah. And kids do that, and many times you have to understand that they're byproduct of you. So if they're doing crazy shit, it's probably because so I see my kids sometimes, or sometimes I most times I don't recognize it, because it's just my kids. But sometimes I'm looking at them and say, "Oh my God, did I do that?" you know,
Well,
I
I
had
do
my
that.
11-year-old daughter tell a woman that she was insane because she was wearing a muscle, and I was like, "Oh
I
shit,
do that. I do that a lot.
did I do that? Shit."
Yeah, I do that a lot with my
Yeah.
daughter. Like, because her and I are like, I don't know, we're very, I don't, we're very much the same. But then I look at my youngest a lot now, and I don't know if it's just like coming to me, but he'll come up to me like the other day I was cooking, and of course he was like, "Hey, mom, is this what demons look like?" And I was like, "What the?" In my head, I'm thinking, "What the fuck, Gabe?" But then
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Faith, like he, he's just you. He's just asking questions. But then he also does like the silliest, stupidest shit. And I'm like, you do the same things, Faith. Like you'll do the stupidest things that matter to no one. Like I'll say the dumbest things.
Mm,
Like I'll say something to Algo, and it doesn't mean anything. It's just stupid and silly, and he'll be like, but it's stupid. And I'll look back at it and I'll think, oh my God, that is something my freaking 7-year-old would say. Like, am I that immature?
yeah, but if
Or am I just rubbing? I don't
we
know.
all got brought up differently, and that's you get you gotta love it. It's a love hate relationship. we love the facts that we are all different and all can contribute with something, and we hate the fact that nobody is like us, you know. So it's kind of a two-edged sword, right? Uh,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
you can't have both. You have to choose. You want people to challenge you or and lift you up, or do you want people to agree with you and hold you in place? You have to choose. You can't have both.
I agree with that. And I honestly, for me, I prefer a challenge. I, I want you to challenge me. Come at me. Like, you know what I mean? That's my
That's true.
attitude. That really is my attitude. Like I want you to come at me because I want to come back at you. But mm, that might not be the best way to see things.
Well,
But that
it I think of it like when I'm doing martial arts. Some people are into technique and only technique, and some people are into sparring. You know, some people just want the knowledge of the world, but they don't want to implement it. So we have people at
mm,
my academy who comes every Tuesday and Thursday and learn a technique, but they never stay for the sparring and apply it in real life. They just want the theoretical side of it, you know.
mm,
And then you have people like us who likes to spar and like to get our hands dirty, and
yeah.
yeah, and sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you bend a finger or you break a rib, like I just did, and it hurts. If when you're sparring, it hurts, and you have to accept it. But you will be so much better at what you do than the guy who's only doing the theoretical side, So yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. But I just want to say hey to you. Why do you keep changing your name? Keep messing me up with that.
Who's taking your name? Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I've had a lot of names. I used to be Mr. Copenhagen. Then I became
Stop changing
TV.
your name.
Now I'm not doing it. I don't even know who started this, but now I'm the polar bear. And I'm I think it was Stacy who called me the
Blame Stacy.
yeah, and so now it's stuck. I don't care. I wear whatever label people put on me. I'm like the poster stand in the middle of the street. If you put a good message on me, I'll wear that shit all day. So yeah, but it's
Well,
still
I
rebel.
wear I wear no labels. Nobody's gonna label me ever. People like to try.
Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know what happened there.
I was like, wait, what happened? It froze
Yeah,
up. But
apparently I
anyway,
used
yeah,
used up
thank you
my
for having me
speaking.
on. Thank you. I really wanted to say hi to you.
Yeah,
I
you're
like you a
always
lot.
welcome.
I think you're super cool.
I am what I am. That's unchangeable. That's for sure.
I feel you there. Um,
Yeah.
if anyone in chat wants to give me a few prayers for this Wednesday, that'd be great. I don't want to say what's happening, but yeah, thanks, guys.
We all do all the time. We pray for each other.
I
I'm
know
not a
you guys are
praying
so
man.
awesome. Love it.
I'm not a praying man. I must
That's
say.
okay, and that's okay too.
But still, I do. I wish the best for everybody here, and I think in the end, that's what praying is.
Yeah,
So yeah,
thoughts, prayers, whatever.
yeah.
um, yeah, it's gonna be a big ass week for me. So,
Oh,
um,
in a good way, maybe.
no, I don't. Uh, well, it's health wise. So, but I don't want to say anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Okay.
say anything out live. But
No, it's good. Yeah.
you can give
Yeah.
it. You can talk to Ken. I'll tell Ken, and maybe Ken can tell you. I don't know. I just don't want to say it on live. But in the end, it's going to be a good thing. So everything's going to be
Yeah.
awesome. So, but
Don't worry about it. That's
you
the
know,
worst thing you can do.
good thoughts, prayers,
That's the best advice I
whatever you
give
guys,
everybody, you
yeah,
know?
whatever you guys feel, in
So,
your hearts. Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
and don't worry about it. That's the biggest killer these days. It's the aggravation and the stress that causes about being, uh, you know,
I feel
uh,
like that too. Like that's the
yeah,
biggest thing that's like on my mind. Is like
yeah,
just
yeah,
like the thoughts
yeah.
that go
It's
in my
so
head.
the disruptive thought of what can happen is sometimes the worst evil you have. You know, I've started to believe this. Everything happens for a reason. We just have to let it pass. You know, if it's my time, it's my time. If not, you know,
Yeah,
there's no need for me to run around being worried about it because I can't change a damn thing about it anyway.
exactly.
So
That's exactly right. I
yeah,
can't change a damn thing about it. It's already done. It's already,
it is what it is. Yeah,
all of it, and if it's my time, it's my time. I don't think
Like,
it is,
no,
because I believe in a creator and I believe that he knows that I have young children that I still need to be here for. Um, so everything's going to be okay.
of course it
So
is.
I'm just going to rest in peace on that, and
Yeah,
everything's going to happen the way it has to happen and be all good. I got people. I got my backups.
that's good. That's important.
Yeah, I got my team.
Yeah. Everybody needs, just a couple of people in their lives that they can rely on when shit hits the fan.
Hell yeah.
And if you have that, everything is all good. Because if you have two people and they have two people, you have a network, and all of a sudden, everything is gonna be all right.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Like I got my team, and if anything fucked up happens to me, they have everything in place to take care of everything. So I don't need to. You it's calm down, Faith. Like, shut
Yeah,
your freaking brain off.
I know it's hard, but the best advice anybody can give you is just relax and stop thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But thank you for having me on. I just wanted to say hi to
always.
you.
You're more than welcome. Now you found me, so
I know, me too. I haven't seen you for a while, and I was like, wait,
well, I have been out for a while. I've
you
basically
have,
been
yeah.
streaming for a couple of months,
But but
so
they did unsub me, of course, as they always do. So when I saw you, I think it was it was either on Mike's or Ken's stream, and I was like, wait a minute, where has he
well,
been? And I
I have
clicked.
two channels, Faith. So
Okay, so
yeah,
what they
I've divided myself from this, being me and talking truth and all that. So I have a channel where I do all the other stuff, the other sides of me. You know,
Oh, okay. Well,
there's
you're
one
gonna have
for
to
me
leave
and
that.
there's one for the world. This is
You're
the one for the world, and I have a channel where it's just me
okay.
as a
Okay.
person.
Well, see what they did to me was instead of because what they were doing, they were deleting all my channels. So I had to restart, 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 restart. Then instead, they switched the shit up on me. And instead of just deleting me completely, they started blocking me out. So I could go to the channel, watch the shit I had previously posted, leave a comment if I wanted to, but I couldn't manage any videos. I couldn't post anything. Like they completely locked me out of both accounts. And so I was like, what the hell is this? This is weird. This is new. What is happening? So I was like, all right, fuck this. I'm just creating a new channel. So here I am, Faith Fuego Farah.
Yeah, I basically told them when I had Rebel TV, and I basically said myself, if they shut this one down, I'm making two news, you know,
Exactly.
and we can play this game all day long,
Well,
you
see,
know.
at first I had 3 channels, and then bam, 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 within 1 week, they took all 3 of them out. And I was like, what the fuck?
Mm,
I was so annoyed. And of course
and that's
I'm
what they
not
want.
I'm not monetized. I will never make money off YouTube. Fuck their
No,
money. I don't want it. I do
yeah,
not want it.
none
But
of them will ever do.
still, I was annoyed because I lost all my subs, lost all my comments, I lost everything. I lost all my videos, everything. And so I went back and I talked to my friend John, and my friend John was like, "What?" I was like, "Fuck this shit. I'm done. Fuck YouTube. Fuck it all." He was like, "Why would you stop?" And I said, "I don't know, because they keep fucking shutting me down." He was like, "Well, fuck them. Give them a two
Yeah,
big ass middle fingers and keep the fuck going. What the fuck is wrong with you, bitch?"
yeah.
Literally, that's what he
Is
said to
that
me.
all it takes to get you out of the game? That's easy, you
That's
know?
literally what he said to me. It's like, give them
Yeah,
two middle fingers and make another channel
yeah.
and keep fucking going.
And
And
that's
so I was like, you
what
know what? You're right. And so I did. And now I'm back up. No, I don't have 500 subs, but I'm almost up to 200 again within like 2 fucking months. So it's like, yeah,
and do you
whatever,
know why,
YouTube.
Faith? Because you got fight, you know? And that's it right there, you know? We choose to fight. Yeah, we choose to have our weak moments. We choose sometimes
Yeah,
to feel like it's all sad and everybody should have mercy on us and all that. But then we get back on the horse and we're ready to fight, you know? And that's what we do. We are fighters.
exactly. There are those moments when I'm just like, ah, damn. But then, like, give me like a few hours, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck
You
this
know what?
shit.
Every fighter feels like that, Faith. Every fighter.
I'm back at
Do you
it.
think the guy that comes out of
Well,
a
see, and
UFC fight?
this is honestly how I feel. Like
Mm,
when they throw me a strike or just completely take my channel out, I'll be like, and I'll be honest. I'll tell my husband, I'm like, damn it, Rick, they took my channel out again, and he'll look at me and be like, who gives a fuck? You have me.
yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? He's fucking right. He has the right attitude. I don't care about these. I don't care about, like, of course, I care about my subscribers. I care about you guys. You guys are my friends. But these the YouTube assholes, I don't give a shit about them.
No,
They're not my
why
life.
wouldn't you? You see, I have all the best guys in my chat today. That is exactly the people I wanted to be here, you know, and they'll be here whether I have 20 subscribers, 100 subscribers, or 1,000 subscribers.
Exactly. Yes,
It's
exactly.
still the same people, you know, and it doesn't matter, you know. All that is
Exactly.
just numbers.
They are ride or die.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, I don't know how many channels I've went through, but every single channel that I've went through, I've gone back and I've seen all the subs that have came to my new channels, and it's like, yo, I know who you are. 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 Have your number. Have your email. Have your email. Have your number. These people are ride or die. Like they are so loyal, and it's like I don't even
Brothers
deserve
in
it.
arms, you
I
know,
don't
that's
even
what it
deserve
is.
them to be loyal like the way they are. It's amazing though.
No, no, it's not about that. You know, it's just like me and Mike talked about before, you know. It goes both ways, you know. You know, it's a pull push kind of thing, you know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be there without you pulling me and you wouldn't be where you are without me pulling you. You know, it's an interface between people, you know.
oh,
And I think
absolutely.
that's the disconnect that the world is that's the problem we have with the world. We see this disconnect in people and the social side and the you know the human side of people is going away, you know.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Uh,
my problem.
yeah. Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that.
Mm. And we want that. Sometimes we hate it, but we still want it.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is.
Oh man. Sometimes it sucks and we hate it, but it's
Yep.
also like we want it. But then again, it's also a way to sort out.
That's life. that's the yin and yang. It's the black and
Right,
white. It's
right.
the
It's a
dark
way
and
to
light.
sort
That's what
out
it is.
who's real and who's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
You
I
just
don't
have to
want
find that
I don't want
balance,
fake people in my life
Yeah.
because I'm not a fake person, or at least I try not to be. If I am, call me the fuck out on it. But I don't want fake people in my life. So if you're just like subbing me just because you think I'm sexy or something, fuck all the way off. I don't. You can just unsub right now. I don't want
Oh,
that
do you
shit.
think I get subs for this? How should I do that? Yeah. Or maybe my fight stance. Yeah. So you think I got 2 or 3 subs right there? That's not what it's about.
No.
Because you know what? I could make a goofy channel where me and my son did something really funny and stupid together, and I would have 1,000 subs in a week. I promise you, I could do that.
Oh, you know what?
Any day of the week, I could do that, because I'm a goofy guy, you know. So I do a lot of stupid
That's
stuff that
funny
you
as
guys
shit.
don't
Because
see.
I was just telling my husband, he was like, "Why are you on YouTube still? You know they hate you." I said, "Babe, if I was on YouTube for subs and likes, you know what I could do?" He said, "You better not. You better not." It was so
You
funny.
can you
It was
can
a hilarious conversation. I don't want to
look,
go into it,
you
but
can literally you can literally buy a package of eggs and go out with a video camera and throw them at people, and you will get 1,000 subs.
you can
You
do
can
the
do that.
stupidest shit on YouTube and you'll get
If you want subs, they're very easy to get. It's way harder to get friends on the internet.
exactly. And yeah, that's exactly it. It's not easy to get um good subs or friends on YouTube because there's so much riffraff that goes through, you know what I mean? And I get that shit too. And they come and go and I tell them be gone, but it is what it is. I
It's
know
all good,
I know who's gonna watch. I
You
know
have
who's
to
gonna
be like a
comment.
turtle.
I know who's gonna like. I know every single person's name that is gonna watch, comment, and like if and or the other.
Yeah.
Anyone else, if you're new, I'll say hi. But if you give me a side eye, I'm side eyeing you right the fuck back.
Yeah. I always wanted to be a turtle when I was young.
Turtle.
The turtle was a great animal. You
All
you
right.
you
I
you're
I gotta
slow
go. I
and
gotta
you don't
go.
give a shit. You just walk around, and if the world just get too much, oh shit, I'm just gonna go in my shell
Just
and lay
going
there for a
myself.
while until the world gets all normal again, and I can come out.
I gotta go though. But thank you.
Yeah, that's good, Faith. Good to see you.
I know it's so great talking to you. Thank you for having me on.
Always. Have a
You,
good night.
yeah, you take care.
I will. Take care of the kids too.
I will. God bless.
Yeah. So yeah. Welcome, Ken Claudio. I think you're back, and welcome, Smurfer. Danny is here. And Salted Cedar, welcome. For those who came late, today have been all about me and my life story and my upbringing and who I am. And if anybody is interested in that, they can go back and watch that story anytime they please. And here's another dear friend of mine that's been here for a while, what we call a brother from another mother.
Oh, dude, no, man, you're amazing, Brian. And I always felt a little reluctant when I was going to be commenting on your videos. I never understood at the time, which was probably close to like 9 months or longer ago, when if there's a silver lining to the garbage that happened for the past almost 3 years now, it's that it was like a litmus test, and it was a reality check for a lot of us. And you and Mike and this online community we've made connections through had me realize, okay, am I going to adapt or die, or am I going to just be a dead fish and go with the flow? And it made me make some significant choices. And I was in a lot of denial for a while, because you guys would say, your tough love when you were like, I didn't really know how to tell you this, Ken, because I didn't think you could. You seem a little soft at that time. And now I see things through a different lens, which is really great. But I'm continuing to grow, and I love the content that you've been putting out on your new channel. I love the concept behind it. There's a lot of concepts there that used to resonate with me, but as other people, whether it was Smurfer or other people that made me realize, okay, certain things really look good on paper. And if you're talking to another martial artist and you pull a quote from Sun Tzu, that's nice, but it almost comes across as flowery in that your first video as well as your second video, the way you broke it down, it's like, okay, we have these concepts of how we want to defend ourselves or defend loved ones. But do you really, really, really know what you're getting yourself into? And a lot of people don't. Okay, so you read a book. Okay, so you read a book, or I remember these proud parents once, and I apologize for anybody in chat that may have heard me tell this story before, but I remember biting my tongue and being very pleasant to these proud parents who were saying, oh, our girl is a 10th degree black belt in, I forget if it was karate or what the martial art was. And I'm like, oh, that's really good. Has she done any, does she spar? And they're like, oh no, she doesn't do any sparring. And I'm like, unless she gets really lucky, she does not know what it's like to be hit with protective equipment. Granted, you don't know how to be hit, and you don't know what to do once you are hit. I don't care what that silly belt on your waist says.
It doesn't
if
matter.
I blindside you, you're not getting up, or you'll be so shocked you won't know. None of your training and your little trophies
Goes out the window.
And your little pins and your certificates. That's not good. Best words from Bruce Lee. In the street, in real life, there is no ref. There are no 3 rounds. There are no out of bound strikes.
But there are other things that you will never see on the mat as well. As I was described in the second one, adrenaline being a big factor. If you have no idea what adrenaline is and what it does to your body,
I love that, man.
You should never be in a fight, because violence, if you haven't experienced violence, I mean true violence, you won't understand what it does to your body. That's why I deliberately make the second one a bit harsh. If you see the things in there, the pictures I put in, they're brutal. I want to paint a picture that fighting is not pretty, and fighting is something different than defending yourself. That's very important, because all the notion you see on the internet these days is that you can use your fighting and your martial arts to defend yourself. And you have to understand that there's 2 different concepts. Self-defense is a mindset, and fighting is a tool you can use to obtain that mindset.
And you've given me a great idea when you said that a limit for how long adrenaline stays in your system is 12 minutes. My next goal is, the next time I get on the treadmill, is to see how long I can. And I loved your tempered words, and specifically where you're like, I'm not talking a full out sprint. We're talking a reasonable rate that you are technically running, not fast walk or whatever, and see how far I can get for a 12-minute duration.
Just the Cooper test. It's called the Cooper test. It was a guy called, I can't remember his first name, but he called Cooper. He developed it for the military. I think it was for the Royal, the British military, and that's because what happens when you get shot at? as a soldier. You know, that is the most extreme.
Circumstance or situation.
Yeah, it's most extreme situation where you produce this adrenaline. You know, and when you get overwhelmed with that kind of adrenaline, your body will basically lay it all out there in the next 12 minutes. After those 12 minutes, you will have nothing left. It will burn every resource you have, any energy you have in you. So you better make sure that you can get as far as you can on those 12 minutes, because when it's gone, it's gone. You know?
Yeah.
So if you sit and hunker down in those 12 minutes, and with your adrenaline will use all your energy and your deposits, and you'll be a sitting duck, because now you have nothing left to fight with. So that's why I made this narrative that you have to either choose. You have to choose on the spot. Are you going to fight or are you going to run? But either way, you need to use that adrenaline, you know,
Right.
for the best purpose.
And
Hunkering down, sitting under the table is not going to cut it. You know, now you obtain nothing with all your energy. So you can either use your energy to run through the opposition, or you can use it to run away.
And your video was really wonderful, how it specifically detailed that. And I've spoken with Ellie on different occasions where and her martial arts background is quite extensive, and yet in line with you, her biggest thing, for anyone that is somehow hasn't learned this about Ellie, she runs marathons. This girl has hella endurance and reasonably hella speed, and her preference, in spite of all the martial arts training she's done, is to run, knowing that she can get away, and that part of her training is to choose not to fight in spite of everything that she's learned. And it's not saying discounting. I am fully of the belief, with my limited background in martial arts, similar to, I think, what Smurfer typed in chat, I only earned a green sash in Shaolin Kung Fu. And as an ongoing process of when you learn, what you realize and where your respect and your regard for your higher up belt and your other fellow students is the more you know, you don't know, and that those ranks have a very, very distinct meaning. Because and I love the distinction you made in your video of knowing techniques and knowing more techniques doesn't mean you necessarily know how to use them in a fight.
No, because here's an example. I can show you how to get out of a choke or a headlock or whatever, you know. And I can show you. Let's say I got 6 months to show you one move, you know. I can make you a master in that one move, in 6 months, you know. I can make it so anyone with every time I do this on you, you're able to lay me on the floor, you know. That I can do. That's one move. But I tell you, that Friday night, you're in a bar, you know, and all things get out of hand, and somebody, without you expecting it, grabbing you in that move, you know, everything goes out the window. Even though you do it with blindfolds on, it goes out the window, because the shock effect is just too great, and it takes over your body.
And it's an unfortunate part where some of these, what people have exposed as either fake masters or quote unquote pseudo martial arts, or I don't even care if it's supposedly from a reputable school, whether it's karate or aikido, they'll have these older or these certain masters who their students have gone along with what their master does of throwing them around the dojo or the martial arts school, that they take on some sort of challenger from MMA or whatever, and they're literally, exactly as you said, they're a whatever Dan rank master in their own school, and then this MMA guy is throttling in them, and you can see the shock on the YouTube, the numerous YouTube videos where they're like, they don't remember the last time someone actually laid a hand on them, because they're not doing any reality testing, and they're not, there's
Yeah, and people misunderstand the concept of martial arts, to take a guy you mentioned before, Bruce Lee, he was right on the money because he understood that martial arts is a development in you. It's what it says in the word, it's art. You make it your own, you know. Bruce Lee never wanted you to learn Jeet Kune Do, He never wanted that. That was his style. Originally he did Wing Chun.
Right. Yeah.
That's what he trained. With the Ip Man. And basically what he did is he was exposed to other arts as well. And basically what he did is he did Wing Chun until he understood the concept of fighting. And when he understood the game, the frames that he had to operate within, he said, now I have enough information so I can go create my own. And that's what he did. He was never a master at Wing Chun. He
Right.
wasn't.
But I did a speech, and again, I'm going to be repeating this for some people that may have heard me tell the story. That in the research I did for my speech, I found out he, and part of why he broke ties with and had a lot of hate from traditional Chinese martial arts was he called them out on it, saying, "Okay, we have a stance called Emperor on the Throne, which honors this one man. Is it practical? Do you actually use that to defend yourself? But we must honor the masters of centuries. That's not going to help you in a fight," which is where he developed the whole thing of being like water and being fluid.
But that's basically not why they disliked him.
Well, there are a couple of
him?
Well, they showed it in many videos. Someone said, "Why are you training these Guai Lo, a demeaning
Exactly.
insult
That's why
to
they disliked him.
foreigners?"
That's why they disowned him.
And
because he trained Westerlings.
And I loved his almost paralleling our open-mindedness and the connections and connectivity that we've established with each other. And granted, I don't know how much Holly Weird colorized it with Jason Scott Lee portraying him in the movie, in the Bruce Lee story movie, where he said, "I'll train anyone who's willing to learn."
Mm.
And one of his, again, this is from the movie. I haven't done extensive research on it, but he was like, "I want to share the beauty of this art that is my country with the world," and that's a beautiful thing.
I've thought about making a video only about Bruce Lee, actually, because I have a lot to say about that guy. I have a love-hate relationship with that guy.
A good number of people do.
Yeah, because I respect Bruce Lee as the martial artist. I respect him as an athlete, but I dislike him as a human being, basically.
Oh, okay. And I never.
To me, he's a fraud.
Okay. And this is the thing that I love about being able to learn from you, Brian, in that I remember, actually, this was probably over a decade ago when I mistakenly enjoyed the phrase of being called a white knight, because
the phrase "be like water" is not his either.
Perfect. The key point being that other people would say, "Stop white knighting," and it's like, I'd be like these freaking pushovers that supposedly represent, whether it's the left, I don't really care, but someone who would be like, "But I'm right," and blah blah blah, or I believe in so and so, and if you don't like him, then I don't like you, which is one of the most narrow, stupidest mindsets. In that, do your own research, and I would that older version of me would have been, well, I don't understand why Brian doesn't like you. I respect you for all the what you've been through and what you've learned. That you bringing that up to me says that I trust your perspective, that if you have this issue with it, there has to be something to it.
Mm.
because too many things, whether it's books or movies, we've glorified some of these people by design or by agenda that isn't necessarily justified.
But that's not what we do, you know. Either we will still glorify the man that landed on the moon, right?
No, I remember being very